What if everything you thought you knew about safety and world order is just the surface of a vast, hidden plan? In the past few weeks, a secret operation of unprecedented scale has swept through every single one of the 50 United States. For the first time in over 2 decades, federal agencies worked together in absolute silence. No leaks, no warnings, just total coordination across the country. 87% of the nation's most dangerous criminals, people once considered untouchable, vanished from city streets seemingly overnight. Crime rates have dropped by 20%, an outcome that sounds like a cause for celebration. But beneath this apparent victory, urgent questions are bubbling up. Authorities confirm this was not just a cleanup. It was a rehearsal, a synchronized strike that tested the system's ability to act fast and under the radar. Why now? What are they really getting ready for? Thousands of weapons were seized, but there's a total blackout on what happened to them next. Meanwhile, eyewitnesses in several states report strange military convoys moving under the cover of darkness, with no official explanations and no identifying marks. The stakes could not be higher. If you fail to notice these changes, you risk being blindsided by the sudden shifts that could impact your safety, your community's stability, and your understanding of who is really in control. Let's unravel how these secretive U.S. actions connect to the dramatic shifts happening on the global stage, and why the quietest moves may have the loudest consequences. Why did United States agencies choose this exact moment to launch an operation so secret it left even seasoned analysts stunned? And what does it mean for you, beyond a drop in crime statistics? In recent weeks, a massive covert action codenamed Operation Summer Heat has swept silently across all 50 states. Behind this veil of secrecy, 20 intelligence agencies moved as one, executing a synchronized crackdown unlike anything seen in the past 2 decades. What makes this timing so extraordinary? The operation struck precisely when government paralysis seemed absolute, at a moment when political deadlock should have made coordination impossible. Yet law enforcement cleared the streets with ruthless efficiency. Thousands of the most dangerous criminals simply vanished almost overnight. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Official sources confirm that more than 2,000 weapons were confiscated, yet there has been deliberate government silence about what happened to them. No press releases, no statistics, nothing. At the same time, the Pentagon quietly awarded secret domestic contracts to 4 of the largest military contractors in America. The goal: equip law enforcement with new, advanced gear, right on home soil. Across 6 states, residents have reported seeing long convoys of unmarked military trucks moving in the dead of night. No insignia, no explanations, and no official comment. What is being transported, and where? The lack of answers only fuels suspicion that we are witnessing just the first phase of a much larger, multi-stage plan. Authorities have now issued a rare call to ordinary citizens. Remain vigilant and report any unusual law enforcement or military activity, especially in border states. Your awareness could be the only check on unchecked power. Because if the public stays passive, even more drastic actions could unfold without your knowledge or consent, altering civil rights and public oversight in ways that cannot be easily reversed. But while America's streets are swept clean in silence, far more is happening on the world stage. Hidden moves abroad are now redrawing global alliances and resources. So how does this secretive American operation connect to the new world order taking shape? While you were watching the news for tanks and missiles, the real battles shifted to the bank vaults and backrooms. It is not armored columns, but economic pressure and covert deals that are redrawing the world's power map right now. What you see on the surface is only the smallest part of a much larger silent war. Take India, for example. Pressured heavily by the Western powers, India is now on the verge of slashing its Russian oil imports, a crushing economic blow to Moscow at a moment when every barrel counts. This move is more than just a policy change. It's a turning point in the global struggle for influence, as energy shipments become bargaining chips in a high-stakes game. Meanwhile, China faces a dramatic escalation, tariffs set at 100%. This is not just a trade disagreement, but a declaration of full-fledged economic warfare. The impact on global supply chains and markets is already being felt, as costs surge and companies scramble to adapt to a new, uncertain reality. The United States, for its part, avoids direct military engagement. Instead, it quietly supports its allies, provides strategic backing, and works behind the scenes through diplomatic channels. This indirect approach allows Washington to shape the outcome without risking open conflict, at least for now. Away from the headlines, Venezuela becomes a testing ground for covert operations. The CIA now has a blank check to act. From orchestrating narco-trafficking routes to influencing waves of illegal migration, the visible symptoms are only the tip of the iceberg. The real contest is happening in the shadows, where intelligence agencies battle for control of resources and influence. As these moves play out, geopolitical alliances are rapidly shifting. New trade blocs form, old partnerships dissolve, and global supply chains are being rebuilt almost overnight. What used to take decades now changes in a matter of months, as every nation scrambles to secure its own future. Welcome to the age of resource wars and information warfare. The world's most powerful weapons are no longer tanks and jets, but control over rare earth minerals, energy supplies, and the flow of information. The 21st century's true struggles are fought in secret, sometimes with algorithms, sometimes with cargo ships, and sometimes with misinformation campaigns. Analysts warn that all this tension is more than just posturing. There is a real risk of an imminent crisis that could ripple across financial markets and threaten global food security. Ignore these signals, and you could wake up to abrupt changes in job security, rising prices, or even shortages that touch your own table. Every maneuver on the global stage has direct consequences for ordinary people. Your savings, your livelihood, and your safety depend on decisions made in distant capitals and secretive boardrooms. The danger is not only what you know, but what you do not see coming. But this is only the beginning. In the next section, we'll reveal how these global maneuvers are quietly rewriting reputations, economies, and the daily lives of millions, often in ways that the mainstream media won't even mention. The dominoes are falling faster than anyone admits. Are you ready for the world that's coming? Around the globe, the old certainties are crumbling. Russia's military prestige is taking a severe hit, as what was once expected to be a lightning-fast conflict now grinds into its fourth year. The aura of invincibility has faded, leaving Russia with mounting losses and a much weaker negotiating hand. Meanwhile, India and China are quietly redrawing the map of global alliances. India's move to distance itself from Russian oil and seek new strategic partners is a clear signal. The world's center of gravity is shifting eastward, and the West can no longer take loyalty for granted. For China, the imposition of 100% tariffs by the United States is not simply a trade dispute. It is being framed as a struggle for economic survival and global influence. But as the giants spar, new alliances are forming in unexpected places. In Southeast Asia and Latin America, nations battered by turmoil are showing surprising resilience. Fresh economic partnerships are blossoming, offering rare opportunities for those who can move quickly and adapt. Direct military interventions are increasingly seen as too risky and too costly. Instead, governments now fight with sanctions, supply chain disruptions, and multi-layered negotiations, wielding economic levers with ever greater sophistication. The era of open war is giving way to shadow games where the stakes are just as high, but the weapons are often invisible. The United States and Israel are writing a new playbook for remote influence, combining intelligence, cyber operations, and targeted strikes to cripple Iran's drone capabilities without ever setting foot on the battlefield. These methods are setting dangerous precedents, rapidly normalizing silent warfare far from the public eye. At the same time, the CIA is authorized to dismantle narco-trafficking networks on a global scale. Each seized vessel means more lives saved, yet the cartels adapt, switching tactics, shifting routes, and keeping the deadly flow alive. It is a race where the rules are always changing. Even migration is now a weapon. Venezuela, gripped by crisis, is deliberately releasing criminals to cross into the United States, turning human desperation into a geopolitical lever. The consequences ripple outwards, straining border communities and fueling political standoffs across the Americas. For individuals and businesses, the risks cannot be overstated. Economic shocks, supply chain disruptions, and sudden regional instability are no longer distant threats. They are part of daily reality. Those who fail to adapt may find themselves blindsided by losses or left behind as new opportunities emerge in this shifting world. So what can you actually do to prepare and thrive in this era of invisible wars and unpredictable alliances? In a moment, we'll break down practical steps for safeguarding your future and reveal how to spot the hidden signals before they impact your life. In a world where power moves in silence, your greatest defense is awareness and readiness to adapt. The global chessboard is shifting under the radar. Behind closed doors, covert operations and economic power plays are rewriting the rules. This is not just a distant game for governments and corporations. Every hidden deal, every silent raid can hit your wallet, your rights, and even your sense of security without warning. So, what can you do? First, become the eyes and ears of your community. Vigilance is contagious. Reporting suspicious activity or sharing verified information often stops bigger threats before they escalate. Even a single tip or observation can ripple out, protecting countless people. Second, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your financial assets and do not rely on a single source for news or information. When shocks come, whether from manipulated markets or sudden shortages, it is those who prepare with options who survive and, sometimes, even thrive. Third, demand transparency from your leaders. Insist on public oversight of government operations, especially those shrouded in secrecy. When citizens monitor those in power, rights are preserved and manipulations are exposed before they can do harm. Fourth, pay attention to what is happening around the world. Track major global events and shifts in supply chains. When oil is rerouted, when trade alliances break, or when military hardware moves unannounced, these are signals that can warn you of coming disruptions, both economic and personal. Fifth, think internationally. Criminal networks and economic threats do not stop at borders. Engage in cross-border cooperation, share insights with trusted contacts in other countries, and stay plugged into global discussions. The more you know about what is brewing elsewhere, the better you can anticipate risks at home. Finally, realize the scale of the invisible. Every confiscated shipment, every seized weapon, every rerouted resource is not just a statistic. It can change the lives of millions, including you. Every silent move is a wave that eventually reaches your shore. The cost of standing by is steep: lost savings, unstable markets, freedoms eroded in silence. But by choosing vigilance and adaptability today, you safeguard your interests and open doors to new advantages tomorrow. It is time to close the loop. What does this all mean for you? Right here, right now. In the next chapter, we will uncover a single event poised to upend the entire geopolitical landscape, one the mainstream has overlooked, but you cannot afford to ignore. The real world is shaped by what you do not see. Will you watch from the sidelines or become a player in this new age? Right now, entire nations are locked in silent battles, wielding economic pressure, secret operations, and unseen alliances to redraw the global map. What you catch in the headlines is just a fraction of the true struggle, where the most decisive moves happen far from public view. Across the United States, a massive covert operation quietly swept through every state, shaking the criminal world to its core. Yet this was not just about justice. It was a test, a synchronized rehearsal for something even bigger. While arrests and seizures made news, the real changes unfolded in shadows, with no warning and no leaks. Globally, the same pattern emerges. Economic warfare replaces open conflict. Nations break old partnerships and form new ones behind closed doors, shifting the balance of power faster than most people realize. Energy, resources, and information are now weapons in a hidden contest, where today's friends could become tomorrow's rivals. What does this mean for you? The stakes could not be higher. Your security, your job, and your daily life are all at risk if you ignore these shifts. Passivity gives others the power to decide your fate, your privacy, your prosperity, even your access to food and energy. The world is being reshaped by forces you may never see coming. But you have a choice. You do not have to be a bystander. Stay alert. Question the official stories. Look for the patterns beneath the surface and demand real answers. Every time you engage, share, or dig deeper, you strengthen your own position in this global game. In this new era, only the informed and the active will shape their own future. Will you let others write your story, or will you claim your place at the table?